My fiancée and I were on a camping trip last summer in Arkansas, casually grilling some dinner when we heard someone loudly yelling for help. I ran a few campsites over to find a clearly drunk man standing in a pool his own blood. Apparently he had dropped his knife and nicked an artery in his ankle, which was spurting blood like a fountain. My fiancée was not far behind me and helped get it wrapped up and elevated while I ran back for my phone to call for an ambulance, only to find out I had no cell service. I knew there was a hospital roughly 20 miles away, so I made a judgment call and loaded the man up into his truck and took off. Now is a good time to mention that blood makes me super squeamish, and I think pure adrenaline is the only thing that kept me from passing out at the wheel. I made it to the hospital in 12 minutes, just as he started slurring his speech and hinting at losing consciousness. I still remember the pool of blood spilling out of the door off the floor mat as they took him inside. My fiancée picked me up from the hospital and we headed back. We ended up having to watch his dog and tried our best to have a normal evening. The man showed back up around 10:30 p.m. with 18 stitches. The doctor had told him if we hadn't been there, or we had awaited for an ambulance, he would have bled out and died. Horrifying situation, but we saved a man's life. Every time we go out now, we come prepared with first aid kits for emergencies, and I got a new phone for emergency, with cell service. Took my kids camping and winded up in one of the small cabins near Big Meadow for the second night since the animal nightlife activities had my boys in tears. Night 1 intense. First morning waking up in cabin, the boys were gone. Found them at base of a tree pointing at 2 cubs up high. That's terrifying and the scariest thing I've ever expected camping. Worse than any weird stuff. Waiting for my 7 and 12-year-old to be attacked, while I tried to quietly wrangle them away from the tree before Mama Bear came for them. They were taught better, but when other adults are there and taking pictures of baby bears in a tree with their own children, my kids assumed it was safe, and their mom was just overprotective. Bladder Park Ranger later explained to my kids why people and animals don't mix, for the safety of both. Especially hitting hard was the guys who beat a deer to death with a bat, who they baited in to feed by hand. This was a lesson we talk about to their kids. All these years later, people are the things to be most afraid of. When I was about 13, I was camping with family, and as I was sleeping, I woke up in the middle of the night and was just staring at the fire. I saw a man, or a figure of a man, walk up to the fire, remove a burning log from the fire, put it on his shoulder, and walk away until he disappeared, and the fiery log with him, till this day. I don't understand what happened. I was terrified, but couldn't scream. And when we all woke up, I looked around the fire and saw some cans of gas and lighter fluid rather close by. And I can't help but to wonder if that figure was some kind of otherworldly entity who may have saved our lives by removing the log, because had the fire stayed the size it was, it would have caused a huge fire with the slightest change in the wind. I once went camping with a group of friends, many like 8 of us. We decided to play the Ouija board while camping, and to make it more scarier, we played it during night time. At first nothing was happening as we expected. Out of nowhere the board started moving, and we all just chuckled because we knew, or thought one of us was moving it to scare everyone. Then the board started to spell out these words, "Leave or die," like 10 times in a row. We all laughed, but eventually that would change. Our campfires from outside all went out at once. It was weird, because there was like 5 campfires we set apart from each other, and they all went out on the same time. We then started to hear stuff outside, like people walking around, or something was out there. All us then stepped outside the tent, and we started seeing things like shadow figures move around the trees. We immediately started running far from there. I made it home because all of us came in our own cars. But 2 out of the guys who went were never to be seen again, which is terrifying. Never again will I touch a game like that again. And I am never going back to that same location. I still have chills and I'm scared of that event.